Hey guys, and welcome. This is our first session of D&D with Solitaire, Galg, myself, FilthyRobot, Xylo, and Ricky. We're going to be starting all new characters today and starting the progression. So if you guys are interested in seeing the totality of it, I'm going to try to keep uploading these to YouTube as we go. Please excuse the initial setup for these. We haven't had a lot of time to set up overlays and stuff like that. So it will be pretty raw for today. Just be aware of that. But hopefully it will make up for it in the actual quality of what we're doing. So everyone want to introduce themselves? Solly, you want to take it from here?
Sure. So, I guess I give myself an introduction then. I've been DMing for a few years now. I have a regular weekly D&D campaign with far too many players in it currently, but they're all doing okay, and they've not actually TPK'd, only come very close a couple of times. Yeah, and I'll be captaining this ship today. So let's start with Xylo. Can you introduce Aust for us?
Muted.
You're muted.
Okay, so
Role
not
playing a
myself,
mime?
just the character.
Yeah, you're welcome to introduce yourself as well. There's no like set format for this. Actually, sure, might as well. Go
Okay.
ahead.
Okay, well, I'm Xylo. I played a bunch of D&D when I was in high school, so I've done this a few times. This is my first time doing it with you guys, obviously. So it should be fun. The character that I'm playing is Aust de la Tremaille. He's
De la
a
Tremo.
Tremo. Okay, it's French or Elvish or something. He's a roguish character. He's Elvish nobility, and he looks like a stereotypical standard elf, with the exception of he's a little bit more flamboyant than most others, and he's rather well spoken. So other than that, he's looking to just become a little bit more independent from his family, because he's always been sort of under their wing the whole time, and he's looking to see what else is out in the world.
Just had a thought too. We've all written small bios, very brief bios for these characters, and I think if perhaps after this session, if everyone can just supply me with those bios, I'll put them up on like Reddit, and we can link it into the description of this video, so that people, if want to read the bios of the characters, will have that available to them.
Go.
Okay.
All right, great. William.
Okay, so William, William Shieldheart of House de Montro, if I'm saying it correctly.
Mm-hmm.
He's a firstborn son of his parents Roderick and Ada Shieldheart. He also has two younger siblings. He has his sister Aya is like a middle child, only 3 years younger than William. And then he has his brother Toriel, which is like the youngest child, and he's like not even in his teens yet. William is also from a noble family, and he's a human paladin. At the moment he's at the age of 21, and sorry, I need to lower that music. It's quite loud.
Sure.
Okay. Family of Shieldhearts are revering Bahamut deity as their religion, and it's like the Bahamut stands for loyalty, honor, nobility, and this stuff. So yeah, they are like this. So at his young age, he joined the Knight of the Order to train as Paladin, and now there is like not exactly his holy quest, but more as a family tradition. He has to like leave everything behind him, his family and stuff, and go adventuring. And like his quest is to become like some famous guy, to make some legendary feats around the world. And when he's like no one throughout the world. He can like arrive, come back home and settle down, have a family or anything, or he can keep adventuring. It's up to the character totally. And it's like his reason why he will be leaving and joining the adventuring.
Good. Great. All right. Cool. Olokian.
All right, so I'm playing a character called Olokian. He is a elf, just hit adulthood basically. He is a bastard son of a minor nobility. His father has been extremely strict with him growing up in terms of his responsibilities for the family. He's very much been made aware of the fact that he is a bastard and that his survival and his well-being as a member of the nobility is limited to the basically suffrage of his father. He had a lot of history growing up with Aust. They're a couple years apart, and has been basically tasked by his father to keep an eye on Aust as they embark on this journey outside of the traditional elven lands, and as well as been kind of told to go round out your abilities to continue to serve the family. He has a background, he's done a number of years as an apprenticeship in the Bounty Hunters Guild, and has spent some decades working with them, which is pretty short amount of time in elf lifespan, but enough to figure out some of the skills and abilities that are needed for that. And he's basically been trained his life from his father, from his background, etc., to kind of be there to support his half-brother in their advancement of the family, so kind of in the background for this type of stuff. So it's the character I'll be playing.
Great. All right, and finally, Sinta.
Hello, everyone. My name is Sinta Andia. I am a half-elf acolyte of the Great Librarian of Varul. Is that how you pronounce it? Sorry?
Vrul.
All right. My interests lie in the knowledge of fate. So this is why I am traveling with a bunch of merry folks today and for the foreseeable future. And that's why I'm here. I am seeking knowledge to enable myself greater access to the Great Librarian. And if you want my history, I am the spawn of a elven mother after a night of fornication with a random human man, so I don't know who my father is. And all I know is my surrogate father is the school librarian I had while I was growing up, so that's who I call my father now. And let's go. So, yep.
All right. Grand Librarian. Well, you did it again. All right. Great.
It's the effect of, Civ, the Great Library. But,
yeah. All right. So, you guys are starting in a location called Brunway's Lodge, a location known as an adventurers guild of sorts on the outskirts of the great city of Vrul. You've all been there for some amount of time, some weeks, some up to a month, waiting for some chance to start your adventuring careers. And on this day, you have been invited by a dwarf called Gundren Rockseeker to partake in an adventure of great mystery and great import. You're invited upstairs in Brunway's Lodge to one of the more private chambers. You all walk inside, and a long trestle table with a human man who looks to be between 40 and 50 years old, quite ragged beard with dark jet black hair, and a dwarf with auburn brown hair, a long thick beard, and the hair itself is braided back in some in cornrows of sorts, some in dreadlocks. The dwarf is pacing backwards and forwards in the room, and the human man sits patiently at the head of the table. As soon as the four of you enter, the human stands up and looks to all of you to add attention, and the dwarf, with a look of relief on his face, turns around to all of you. Ah, yes, welcome, friends. All, take a seat, please.
Aust does so. He takes a seat.
Yeah.
He's like, KT man, sit down.
Yeah.
So at this point, I know Aust and Olokian have known each other, but William and Sinta had do our characters know each other? Is there any rapport?
So like I'm saying, you guys have been in Bronway's Lodge for a week, couple weeks.
Mm-hmm.
So there is a chance you guys have, like, interacted in some way. It's
Okay.
you've been staying there, maybe going out for a hunt or something like that. But you've generally known a couple of the faces and become familiar with the people who come in and out and generally do business on a day-to-day basis within Bronway's Lodge. So you will have seen each other. Perhaps, if you like, some of you have interacted with each other as well. The only two definites are Olokian and Aust, who have their shared history.
I look for a chair furthest away from everyone, and I shift very nervously towards it while stroking the owl on my shoulder.
Okay. Where does Olokian sit?
I'll just sit close to the house. I'd like to be able to see the door that we've come into, and then also keep an eye on the two who have just sat down. The two I don't know, William and Sinta.
Okay, cool. All right. So the four of you sit down and says, "So if my invitations were correct, we should have Sinta," and he kind of motions towards Sinta, and Olokian and Aust. Seems that the pair of you have worked together before. That's good. And then he motions towards William and says, "And a Paladin of Bahamut, William, fantastic. This should do our needs nicely, Sildar." And he motions towards the human man, who then takes his seat, and then introduces himself. Says, "My name is Sildar Hallwinter. It's good to make your acquaintance. My friend here, Gundren, and I have a mission for you. Perhaps some of your first in your adventuring careers. We have some cargo we wish you to take to. We wish you to take to another town, which is considerably some distance to the south of here. Yes, Sinta, you had a question."
Oh no, that was my first time. This is my first time adventuring, but never mind.
I see. Well, welcome regardless. The town itself is called Alderbridge, that you're going to be transporting this cargo to. The town of Alderbridge is through the Vrolian Pass, past the town of Witherdene, and then some further distance down the Ace-Shaw Road towards Alderbridge.
You know I'm going to ask you how to spell that, right? Sorry.
Yeah. You're the male equivalent of matter, I'm aware. He says, Gundren and I are going to set out now. We have some business to attend to in the south. But the cargo itself can take some time more. We're requesting that you have this delivered within 1 week. A week in this world is 6 days, by the way.
What is the cargo we'll be bringing?
He says, it's various building materials, some food supplies, tools and things of the like. Alderbridge was recently attacked, and they require some resupplying.
So will we be escorting a small wagon of some sort or something to that nature, or part of a larger caravan, or just is it enough material that we will personally be transporting it?
You'll be provided with the wagon. It's actually outside waiting just now, along with 2 horses, freshly fed and watered, quite healthy, I can assure you. And upon completion of this, you will each receive 100 gold pieces. A fair bargain for working conditions these days. However, upon reaching...
Can I insight check
Alderbridge,
that? Sorry.
Sure, what's your insight modifier?
3.
Okay. It seems like a pretty modest... It's not too bad. You'd take 100 gold each for, a week's work. That's pretty good money.
Okay.
General living costs, per day, if you're living luxuriously, would be, up to 5 gold a day, so 100 gold's pretty good. That would be living particularly extravagantly. But to give you a frame of reference, 1 beer is worth 2 silver pieces. So, put that with it. It's the universal currency. It says, upon reaching Alderbridge, I request that you deliver these supplies to a man named Elmar Barthen. He is the owner at Barthen's Provisions. And Gundren and I will await you in the local inn, known as the Stonehill Inn.
So, not to question our reason for being here in the sense of putting you off of hiring us, but if you're going this way anyways, why are you not just bringing it yourselves? What are you concerned of? What are we likely to have to deal with that you guys aren't just doing this yourselves?
And the dwarf turns towards you at this point. He says, well, to be honest, there are two advantages here. One is you're looking to get your feet out the blocks and start building yourselves a reputation as good, reliable adventurers, right? And with this comes the promise of more employment further down the line. But also, Sildar and I need to make our way south post-haste, a lot faster than we can transport these materials, so we gotta be there looking to split. You guys, a little more time can be afforded you.
I see. You said there had been some attacks along this route?
No, there are no attacks as such.
Oh, I'm sorry, I misunderstood then. I thought you had said that one of the towns along the route between here and our endpoint had been attacked recently.
No. Sildar said it was actually Alderbridge that were attacked recently.
I see.
I say recently, it was about a month ago or so, but these materials are just to shore up a few holes and patches in some of the buildings there.
What was it attacked by?
Actually, it was a band of raiding bandits, some humans of some sort. And then Sildar kind of like puts his hand up towards Gundren, because Gundren is clearly getting quite angry about this. And Sildar says, the road itself should not be particularly dangerous. There are no checkpoints. The road is not claimed by anybody as such, but there will, of course, be wild beasts that you may encounter along the way. You all seem quite capable and strong to defeat some unplanned rabble, though.
All right. I looked to Aust and I said, did you have anything else that was on your mind?
Not particularly. It seems like a trivial task, honestly.
Oh, a good start. You have to start somewhere. And out here, we're outside of the family network, so it does feel a little perhaps beneath your station, but...
Aust definitely would laugh at that. Definitely.
Sildar is kind of like sitting back in his chair, just kind of his arms crossed, just looking at the exchange and looking at the interactions between the various members. And Gundren's got like a wee smile underneath his beard that you can just see at the kind of like new adventurer hubris that he's seen many upon a time. And he says, not to worry, I'm quite sure you'll be past such menial tasks within no time at all, lad. He looks over to William and he says, although you may be a Paladin of Bahamut, I'm quite sure you could be you'd be appreciative of some supplies for this mission. And he goes over into one of the corners and there's a knapsack, and he brings out a couple of red files, passes one out to each of you and says, each of these should restore some of your vitality when you're not feeling so good. So this is the one portion of healing that you each receive. One portion of healing is 2d4 plus 2 healing points. It's an action to use. Okay?
Thank you, good sir.
Consider it a down payment.
All
right.
So where's the gear we have to move? Is it like outside somewhere?
Yeah, that's what you just said.
It is indeed outside. Depending on when you're wanting to leave, currently it's quite late in the evening. It's about 10 p.m. or so. It says, depending on when you're wanted to leave, if you're wanted to leave now, I can show you to it. Or if you're wanted to leave in the morning, if you just speak to Bronway, you'll be able to show you to the wagon.
All right, I don't see any reason why we shouldn't leave in the morning.
No.
Any further questions?
William, any objections to waiting till tomorrow to leave?
No, no problem. I just want to ask, you said we have a week for that. How long does it take to get to Alderbridge?
It shouldn't take you with the cart's moving speed and things like that, it shouldn't take you more than 2 or 3 days.
We can wait for tomorrow, that's fine.
If by any chance we have to end up walking there, how long does it take to walk there?
Probably faster than 2 or 3 days. The wagons move quite slowly.
Sully, do these two here, Gundram and Southern, do they look like they are about finished? Like, do they look like they're ready to move on?
They look like they've got nothing more to contribute, but they are open to any questions or anything like that you have. They're not jumping at their seats to get out of the room or anything. Right. They want to make sure you guys are ready.
Right, I'm just gonna stand up and just push my back against the wall and just kind of like lean back a little bit and wait with kind of a little bit of an attitude of, all right, let's move it on.
Okay, cool. If no one else has any more questions, then Gundren and Sildar, they both stand up and one looks to the other, and Gundren says, right, we'll be off then, and we wish you best of luck. The wagon is outside, and we'll see you in Alderbridge.
Excellent.
In a few days. See you there.
Yeah.
All right, and they both go to exit the room and head on downstairs. The four of you are still in this private sort of meeting conference room of sorts. Are you wanted to say anything to each other at this point?
I'll introduce myself to these two. I know that the introductions have been made as part of the group, but I'll come over and just individually walk up to each of them and introduce myself and say, it looks like we're going to be working together for this. And then I'll just maybe ask a little bit about their experience. So starting with William, and I just asked, have you done anything like this before, or any idea of why they had suggested that you be part of this, anything like that kind of question. Where did you find this job is what I'm asking.
I did find a job. I'm here for several weeks already in the Adventure Guild, and I was waiting for some action, and to earn some money, and they came up with this offer to me. So I thought that it shouldn't be that hard. I can take it and meet some new companions.
Okay. You spend the next half an hour or so doing basic introductions, asking about each other's sort of histories and stuff like that. And for the sake of brevity, we'll just go past that because you kind of did your introductions already, and there's not much to tell about your adventuring careers. You're level 1, so.
I'll just like to point out that when I see the two noble elves come towards me, I instinctively move back.
Okay.
Yeah.
So there's a quirk there that we have to inquire about later. Got it.
All right. So I guess you guys, some of you go for some merriment downstairs. Some of you might retire to your chambers and make a nice and early start to things. Yeah,
I'll just go out and make sure. They said it was sitting out there, right? These aren't it's not like horses ready to go. This is still horses in the stables. It's just the cart we now know where it is. All right. I was going to make sure that I'll go out and make sure everything is secure. Just take a quick look. I want to just quickly open up. Is the stuff boxed or nailed shut style stuff, or what am I looking at in terms of?
Yeah, basically wooden crates. Some of them are open and you can see things like stones, masonry. There's some gritty powder. There are some foodstuffs, so things like grain. Yeah.
Does it look pretty legitimate when I just want to go kind of once over, just not super invasive, not opening every box, but I want to kind of estimate based on what I'm looking at, weight, stuff like that. Does this look to be what is actually said, what I'm actually told that I'm bringing?
There's shading that's going on.
What's your insight modifier?
Insight modifier is 1.
Well, yeah, it seems to be on the level. There don't seem to be any problems with this. It appears to be exactly as was described.
Okay, and the condition of our wagon and whatnot all looks pretty reasonable. Horses look fine.
They're all secured and watered in. There are a couple of guards that just routinely walk around. Bromway's Lodge is quite famous as this sort of adventurers guild, that it's kind of protected. There are a couple of the adventurers who are waiting for their next job or whatever, and they tend to guard the place as a sort of show of goodwill and to display their willingness to volunteer for tasks and things like that. Try and further their own chances of getting picked or whatever for the next job.
if for whatever reason we wanted to get more supplies for this trip, we would do so in the morning before we left, right? Not now.
Yeah.
Okay.
Before I sleep, I try to read up more about the path between Brunswick's Lodge and Elderbridge. That's where
Okay.
we're going. So, like, what kind of, the terrain, like what kind of creatures we're likely to encounter, things like that.
Okay. Ba, 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 ba. Roll me a nature
history?
check. Nature.
Okay. Do you want to roll that, or do I roll that?
No, you can roll it.
Okay.
Okay, cool. The terrain itself is roaded. Like there's no like off-roading that you need to do in this. It seems to be a fairly commonly walked route. The town of Alderbridge is actually in a mountain pass that leads from the north in Vril to the south in the city called Vidaspera. Between those, there's another pass which shoots off to the east. Between Alderbridge and Vril, there's another path which shoots off to the east. The location is called Witherdene. There's a town there called Witherdene. There's one major forest that you have to head through, which is the Vrolian Pass, which is before you would approach Witherdene from the south. And then continuing on, you would head into some foothill, like past Witherdene, you would head into some foothills, and then a forested area that's been kind of like cleared for the road before you hit Alderbridge.
So essentially, we'll have to camp for a couple of nights.
Yes.
Okay.
It would definitely take more than just one night. So you could plan on camping in Witherdene. It's not far off the path, but that would be one night. It would take more than that to actually get to Alderbridge.
Do we have any idea more specifics about Witherdene itself?
Like some of you may have heard of Witherdene before. It's a really small town, but it's got a really good location for trading. It's between three sets of mountain passes, heading off to the west, to the north, and to the east, to the north, and to the south. So it's kind of like a town which is currently growing. It's on the up.
And the distance between where we're at now and Witherdene is can be made in one day, and then we could plan on just with one day going from Witherdene to our destination, yes?
Witherdene is about equidistant between Vril and Alderbridge, so probably it's actually kind of like inconvenient in that regard, because like where you would need to probably rest is like 2/3 before you get to Witherdene.
Okay.
And
so we can either plan on doing. So we could either plan on doing quarters or thirds and not stay in Witherdene.
Basically, yeah.
Okay.
All right. Cool. All right. So you all take your night's rest, and you get up right nice and early in the morning. Any suggestions for time? Normally 6 or 8 is the standard for.
Yeah, whenever sunrise is.
Whenever the sun comes out, yeah.
All right. So it'll be about 7 o'clock. Then. All right. Cool. I guess you guys would spend about an hour getting things to eat, just making sure you're well prepared, getting the horses saddled, not saddled, the horses don't need saddles, getting them bridled and attached to the cart, checking once again the supplies, like everything seems to be okay, and you'd be ready to be off. Yeah. Unless anyone's wanting to do anything just before you go.
As long as everyone has supplies for 4 days, then we should be good.
Yeah, we have. Yep, I'm good.
Do we all have food? For 10 days?
I believe everyone starts with supplies, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it starts with rations.
Yeah, it's included in the pack.
Yeah.
Okay. So
right, off we go.
Yeah.
Off we go.
Who's driving?
Not me.
No.
I immediately go jump on?
William.
There's no actual seating arrangement for like a person on the wagon. It would be led by like by reins.
Okay.
The horses would be led.
So basically, all four of us are walking, and someone's holding the reins.
Yeah,
Ah,
that would be how that would go.
You want like marching order?
Not currently. When I need it, I'll ask for it. But just as a point, like, if I don't ask, like, what is just your general marching order? Like, how would you guys be walking? Like, who would be further to the front? I imagine that Sinta would be closer to the back.
Yeah, probably Aust and Olokian side by side in front, and then.
So I will take the second front.
What's that?
Okay.
You said that we will be with you and Olokian will be like front and back, like on one side.
Mm-hmm. Well, like almost like just a file of two, like Aust and Olokian in front, and then like William and Sinta.
Yeah, just chatting. We're just kind of wandering and chatting and keeping.
Basically, very casual. Uh-huh.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. Good. I got a good idea of what you guys would look like when you're walking now. All right. So you're heading off. The day itself actually seems quite lovely. There's quite a nice sky looking up. The sun poking out through some of the clouds. There's a nice breeze coming through. Currently, it is high summer. As you guys are walking through the Verolian high road towards the Verolian Pass. You've been walking for about 5 hours by this point. Yeah.
You're getting close to when we're going to stop for lunch, probably.
Yeah, lunchtime-ish. But at this point, you approach the heavily wooded area of the Verolian Pass, which was mentioned before. You head into it, and it's not a sinister-looking forest by any means. It's kind of like a deciduous type forest.
In the weeks that we've been hanging out here, waiting on this job, had we heard anything dangerous about this forest, or just kind of just the path goes through here? It's not like raided all the time or something like this, right?
This path goes through here, and it's actually quite heavily guarded because it is considered Vrol's border. So there is a gateway which leads in and out, which is usually manned by the Verolian Royal Knights.
So when we pass through the pass, then we're out of the border and into the wilderness, kind of.
Yeah, I mean you're kind of already in the wilderness. This area isn't like super heavily watched or anything that you've been walking through. In fact, there have been very few travelers or passers-by that you've seen, and certainly no soldiers. But it's where Vrol likes to make its claim, and that's it kind of like signals that area. So you'd be out of Vrol's jurisdiction, I guess you'd say, crossing through the gate. So as you do cross through the gate, you see some of the Royal Knights of Vrol. Some of you may have seen these in the city before. In fact, probably have because you're all of Vrol. They're all wearing chain hauberks with a red tabard, with the symbology of Vrol imprinted on the front of it. Nobody asks you any questions as you move through. They're just mostly watching for suspicious characters of the sort, and you guys seem to be on the level. Nothing terribly suspicious about you. I mean, you're carrying goods clearly, and you're clearly protection of those goods. Is anyone wanting to interact with these guards?
I just asked them any news of the road.
And one of the guards turns to you and says, "Nothing so far. Just make sure you're on your guard as you're heading to the south."
Thanks.
Before I forget, I would have cast Find Familiar.
Okay, cool.
Yep.
So you have your familiar.
Yep.
All right. So you guys pass through with the wagon, and the wagon kind of like has this the rumbling sound of the wooden wheels on the gravel path going through to the south. Yeah, cool. So you guys, excuse me, walk for another few. So I guess this would be a good point for you guys to like stop and just get a quick bite or something like that, with the purview of the knights themselves. There is a small barracks of sorts that you could stop, just go inside, take a seat, and then just have a much more pleasant conditions than would be on the road.
So I think this might actually be a good time for our first break anyway, so I'd like to just make sure that the audio is coming through okay, like play back a little bit of what we've already done to make sure everything's recording okay. So should we do our first break here? It's been about an hour.
Sounds good.
All right, cool. All right, guys, we'll be back shortly. Thanks for watching.